In terms of challenges, and sometimes challenges are also opportunities, right? I could break it up into, let's say, the client side, right? And on the client side now, there is a lot of education and awareness. A lot of clients are really willing to try many new ideas around measurement, around audiences, and they want to try pilots out. And having said that, I think one of the key things is really to go out and do more measure effectiveness. And that would find its way through into an appropriate activation strategy for data. And I think that's one area. On the data partner side, I think a couple of areas could be, what are relevant activation models? Can business models be a little bit more creative or suitable for countries in APAC? The other thing being, the market is demanding a lot more transparency, and actually there's an opportunity for data providers to become a lot more differentiated. And that's happened quite a bit. There are a lot of data providers who are now able to open up the box a little bit and show, where this data came from, what is the constituent attributes of this data, and so on and so forth.
So first of all, SGA is a very big market. If you're coming from anywhere outside of Southeast Asia, you think SGA country is just one. But in fact, it's a very, very diverse market. Audience interaction and patterns of engagement are very different from one market to another. So Singapore audience, for instance, they are very different from the Philippines, where Philippine users are very easy to engage, but they are very, very, very hard or almost impossible to retain. But whereas Singapore audience is a little bit more expensive to acquire, but then once you get them engaged in, they are quite, hate to say predictable, but easy to maintain. So the hardest challenge is, how do we find the right benchmark? How do we kind of balance between the expectation of our campaign or our investment versus the actual behavior of that market? So if I'll say a downside of SGA data is they always just group them as one, whereas Indonesian, Thailand, Singapore, they're all very, very different. So it's actually one of the biggest challenges even we have for SCMP.
In Southeast Asia, one of the challenges we have is the lack of scale in certain markets. So the data can be quite different, and the scale can be quite different between different markets, especially in countries with smaller populations, such as Hong Kong. Also, cost is sometimes a bit of an issue, because sometimes the data cost can outweigh the cost of the actual media. So you might spend, $1 on data and $1 on media, or sometimes the data is, the media sometimes costs less.